It's a good day for a good day. Hello, everybody. My name's Cece Ray. Thanks for joining me here at Break the Dish, where we break the news and dish out the tea. We are recapping The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 10. I'll tell you, number one, I love this cast, and they just keep getting messier and messier, and I am here for it. But before we get into it, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish. We are recapping The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 10. And basically, this episode really starts out with us being at Lake Bailey. It's been a while since we visited Lake Bailey. And in case you're not familiar, that is Cynthia's home. I think it's beautiful. Just a gorgeous home. She is there with her boyfriend of almost 2.5 years, Love Prince. You know, this is the first time he's been on the show. And I have to say, like, they really make a cute couple, don't they? Like, she seems real happy and, look, she's not in for it for marriage. She's already done that route several times. You know, she's looking for companionship. And they do have kind of like a long distance relationship too, but it works, you know? So it's Phaedra, Porsha, Drew, and Angela, and they're all over there visiting. And, you know, anytime Porsha can take the mickey out of Cynthia, I think she will do it. So she's like in the kitchen and she's like, oh, you know, somebody's in love with Cynthia, you know, and Cynthia says, it doesn't surprise me that Le Prince loves me. What surprises me is that he would admit it in front of these ladies. She also says how he knows how to read a room and get out of there when he should. So Cynthia's just like catching everybody up on everything, you know, and she's explaining how her and Pinky got Porsha and K. Michelle together to iron out their differences. And Porsha is saying like, yeah, we did, but, you know, K. Michelle still won't answer like who told her that I was going to set her up, which I kind of question too, to be quite honest. Did you see this whole situation going on with K. Michelle? And what was his name? Nosh? I mean, Nosh is like, he's mad that now he's on RHOA. He didn't want any part of this. Kind of interesting, you know. Anyway, so while Porsha's getting ready to explain this, Angela says, yeah, well, she met with Shamea to iron their differences out, and it didn't go so well. And she said that Shamea was like being Shamea, of course, and how Angela brought up the whole sleeping with the Falcons and the Seahawks. And I mean, these ladies' expressions were like, what? Huh? You know? And even the producer was like, do you have receipts on this? Like, do you actually know this for a fact? She's like, look, I believe it. I believe the person that told me. Now, I don't know if this happened before she got married. So basically, it's Angela being messy. That's all it is. So while everyone's actually at Cynthia's house, Angela and Phaedra get a text message. No, Cynthia and Phaedra, I'm sorry. Get a text message about Shamea inviting them to her husband's surprise birthday party. It's a theme birthday party, South African theme. And Cynthia's like, it's 8:30 at night. Like, where are you going to come up with like a costume this late in the day, you know? And Porsha says, well, they invited Dennis like a week ago. Shamea also tried to say later on in the show that she purposely didn't invite the ladies till last second because she didn't want the surprise to be blown. Who's going to tell him? I mean, like, are they all like calling each other all the time? I don't think so. Anyway, so of course Portia's not invited, and you can see like, you know, her feelings are kind of hurt. But also when Angela's talking about this whole situation with Shamea, Porsha dumps out of there because she doesn't want any part of it just because they're not, you know, best friends. She doesn't want to be digging at her, which I respect, you know? So we're at the birthday party, and it's Kay Michelle, Kelly, Phaedra, and Cynthia. And Shamea, like, starts explaining that, yeah, she did meet up with Angela, and she references Angela as Bigfoot. And then Cynthia is like, oh, you know, I'm part of the Bigfoot Club. Well, Shamea, like, she wasn't playing around. The way she said it, girl, I don't think you know Cynthia that well. Cynthia can be petty. Now, you already have a strike against you for that whole dirty room situation. This isn't going to go well. Because Cynthia backs off and she's like, it's your house. But you could see like Cynthia was like fuming. Yeah, this isn't going to go well for Shamea. And so anyway, so she's telling her about how basically, you know, Angela was saying how, you know, she was sleeping with the Falcons or whatever. And she said that she has a big ass. And Shamea was like, well, then kiss my ass. Then, like, what is going on with Kelly? Hi, drink much? Like, seriously. First, she's sitting there with Shamea's husband. She's going on about, like, these two are like couple goals and he's such a good family man. She starts crying over it. She's like, and we're here to celebrate you. I mean, even Kay Michelle was like, what's going on over here? You know? So out of the blue, Kelly starts saying like, you know, that's not true. You know, Shamea's got a nice ass. It's not fake. It's soft and juicy. Feels really good. Everybody's like, even Phaedra's like, even my mic's getting like, what's going on? Even Phaedra was like, whose ass are you talking about? You know. But did you notice Shamea's expression on her face when Kelly's doing this? It was almost like she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Take a look. You'll see exactly what I mean. I mean, her eyes were like bugging out of her face. Kind of makes you wonder, like if these two, like, I don't know, were playing around a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I mean, she really does look like she was very surprised. Let's just put it that way. But I mean, Kelly, like somebody should have put her in a taxi and sent her home. Put her to bed. Do something. My God. I mean, there's drunk and there's like drunk. This one was like beyond. Now we see Porsha, and guess what? We've got a little bit of a crossover going on. Welcome, Gizelle. You know how much I love me some Gizelle. Well, I'm a Maryland girl, so of course I'm gonna favor the Potomac girls. But Giselle's there visiting Porsha, and she was explaining how she was doing some sort of like soap opera behind the gates type situation. So she was in Atlanta for the week, and she was asking Porsha about her relationship with Shamea. And Porsha was like, look, just because, you know, we might not be best friends anymore, like, I don't have to treat her badly. But let's read between the lines here. I think Porsha's definitely in her feelings for the fact that she wasn't invited to that birthday dinner. I mean, think about it. This was her best friend. She probably knows her husband better than anybody in the whole cast. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's sad. You know, I'm not saying that she misses the friendship, but when everybody gets invited but you know, and no, I don't think that Porsha would leave Shamea out, to be honest. But her and Gizelle are talking. It's nice to see Gizelle. Then we are with Pinky. She's doing a casting call for a television series that she's getting ready to develop based on her life. She explains that, you know, before she was a restaurateur, she worked as a casting director. She worked on the Maury Povich show. And the actress Notori is going to be directing it. And so Drew shows up, and Drew says she's just there to support. She's not there to audition. Shamea is there auditioning. And so when she comes in to say hello, like, Pinky, like, reads her the riot act, you know, because she's like, you know, I'm disappointed, Drew. Like, I thought you were going to audition. I'm not a big fan of Drew, but I have to say that I'm on Drew's side on this. Drew does have an acting career. You cannot take that away from her. And there is protocol to follow. If you really wanted her to audition, you go through her manager and you send her manager the sides so that she can read it over and decide whether she wants to do it or not, or even if it's worth her time to audition for, you know? And to think that she's just going to come in and improv, I'm on Drew's side here. Like, it's a, you know, I mean, I'm not saying Drew's like some big box office star like she kind of likes to portray herself to be. But when you are working with a manager, this is protocol. And Pinky should know that, by the way, since she worked as a casting director. Shamea is there to audition. Shamea did a good read, by the way. She really did. But Shamea was talking about how she has to kind of like find roles that she can do because her husband Gerald does not want her to have any relations on camera. That is just insecurity screaming, by the way. I mean, everybody knows, like, there is nothing romantic when you've got cameras all in your face, people standing around you just for even a kissing scene alone. There's nothing romantic about it. You know what I'm saying? And for him to say, oh, I don't want you to do these roles, that's just him being insecure. Seriously. And to be honest, like, she probably doesn't even have to do these roles. I mean, financially speaking, you know what I mean? But she did it. She did good. She did a good read. Drew is singing the national anthem for a charity, and Phaedra is talking to K. Michelle about this. Phaedra goes over to K. Michelle's house. It was kind of funny too, because K. Michelle was saying how out of all the ladies, she actually relates with Phaedra the most because they both were raised in the South. And she was saying how you really know about someone by the type of pie they bring to your house. And Phaedra brought up pecan pie, so that would mean she's nuts. Which I thought was kind of cute. So K. Michelle decides to take her out the back off her pier there and go fishing. And they're talking about how for a year K. Michelle did IVF. Her husband doesn't have a child of his own, and she really wants him to have a child. And they also get into the discussion of like, you know, they had a nice time at Shamea and Gerald's house, but why wasn't Porsha invited? K. Michelle was like, you know why Porsha was invited. I have to agree here. Like, I don't think Porsha would leave Shamea out. And, but Phaedra's telling K. Michelle that Drew's getting ready to sing the national anthem, and K. Michelle's like, oh, that's good for her, you know, and she's like, you should come. K. Michelle's like, I'm feeling a little sick. But Phaedra apparently wants to be the peacemaker of the season so far anyway. Says, just think about it, you know. So the day that Drew is getting ready to sing the national anthem, K. Michelle's in the car. She hasn't even gotten out of the car. And she's on the phone with Phaedra, and Phaedra's telling her, I'm not there. And nor am I coming because Mr. President, her son, tore his ACL. That is a horrible, horrible injury to have. So you know, Drew sings the national anthem, and I have to tell you, let's give her a round of applause. Drew did an excellent job. She really did. K. Michelle gets out of the car, and at first, you know, I really think that Drew was excited to see her. Like, she was surprised because she was like, oh my gosh, you know, you said you weren't coming. But that turned very quickly because K. Michelle was like, yeah, I'm not here for you. Really? Like, going back to your love and hip hop ways, huh, K. Michelle? But then Drew, Shamea, and K. Michelle decide to go out for lunch. This was such a mistake. This was definitely on production for sure, because there is no way that number one, Drew would want to go to lunch with these two. If you thought for 1 second that these two weren't going to get all shady and twisted up in Drew, you're wrong. And it didn't go well, let's put it that way. So Drew says, you know, that she wasn't supposed to be there. You said you were sick. And K. Michelle goes, yeah, I don't really like going to places that I don't belong. And Drew like gives her this look of like, what are you talking about? And Shamea goes, you told her that she didn't belong. And Drew says, yeah, I don't understand, you know, with the punctuations and adjectives. Really, Drew? Like, does the chick have to spill it out for you? And Drew said, did I say something? Like, did I say something to you that you didn't like? Just being all sarcastic. And she says, you know, you really need to start speaking up for yourself. When she said that, K. Michelle's look on her face, she was like, oh, this little girl. you know. So Kay Michelle says, I've spoken on it enough. And, then she goes to the bathroom. Shamea's like, keep your purse here, because I don't think you're coming back. So keep your purse here. So Kay Michelle just keeps heading towards the bathroom, which, by the way, she's not going to the bathroom. Shamea was right. And so you hear Drew saying, am I making her uncomfortable? And Shamea's like, yeah. And then she goes, is that my car? And Drew goes, wow, is she not having a good time? And so then Drew's like, Miss Do Too Much. And Shamea goes, she's leaving in my car. Like, she's got the getaway car. And now I'm stuck at the scene of the crime. And Drew says, wow, she said, she's not hungry, doesn't even take her purse or anything. She goes, and she even left it, and it's a Chanel. Like, I rattle her that much? She goes, I haven't done anything to this lady. You should be a good friend. You should hold her accountable. And Shamea says, well, you kept saying her name with your dude in her mouth. Drew right away says, stop. That is true, by the way. Drew only said it one time, that was on the bus. Unless there's something going on behind the scenes. That's all I saw. And Shamea, she's rubbing me the wrong way. And even in Drew's confessional, she says, Shamesi, isn't that the truth, is up to some lies. And, then Shamea says, I'm trying to understand both sides. And now you're like checking me like, I'm her lapdog. And Drew's like, basically, yep, you're her lapdog. And Drew in her confessional says, woo, when I realized that the rest of the ladies weren't coming, that's when I should not have come. She's talking about lunch. And the end of this conversation ends with Drew sitting there with a cocktail and Kay Michelle and Shamea singing the national anthem on the street corner. And that's how this episode ends. Now, we do see next week's episode where Cynthia is checking Shamea. Let me tell you, let's talk about Shamea. Shamesi. It's one thing to be messy and shady, right? Where the viewers and even the cast can be like, oh, that was shady, but then there's messy where you're just like bitchy messy. It's just not landing, Shamesi. It is not landing for you. I'm not quite sure Shamesi is a good housewife. I think this should be her last season, to be quite honest. Shamesi. I mean, she's definitely been a little extra this season. Shamesi. I like it. Let's also talk about Kelly. Now, this is not the first time we've seen Kelly, a little tipsy. But she was beyond tipsy. I mean, she's having conversations that aren't even going on. And I am telling you, take a look at Shamesi's face. Seriously, when Kelly's talking, it is literally like she got her hand caught in the cookie jar. I mean, if her eyes like bugged out of her head any larger, seriously, it's a little weird. I'm just saying. But if you could rate the show, what would you rate it this episode? It was okay. It wasn't anything like to write home about. I would say a 7. That's what I would give it. A 7. I think next week's will be better. I like being able to see Cynthia check Shamea there. But, yeah, I would say a 7. What would you rate it? Yeah. But I have to tell you, though, overall, though, so far this season has been excellent. I do like this cast. I do not like Shamea. I've never been a fan of Drew, but when Drew is better than Shamea, there's a problem. I just don't think Shemea's meant to be a housewife. You know what I mean? Like, she was good as a friend of, not so much as a housewife. Seriously. Nothing's landing, and she keeps going, and she'll have to do another YouTube apology again. I'm just saying. But what did you guys think? Keep the conversation going in the comments below. And before you do, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish.